you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
I'm Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the big show. We certainly appreciate you guys being here. As always, the Chris Voss Show is the family that loves you but doesn't judge you. At least it's not as harshly as your mother-in-law, because, she wanted your wife to marry Bill, and Bill turned out to be that successful stockbroker, and she'll never let you live it down. But you know what? Get on her good side. Refer her and your family friends to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss One, the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. We have an amazing young man and author on the show with us today. He's the author of the newest book that comes out called PlanAssist, Make Better Financial Decisions. I like that title because some of us really need to do that. Timothy Clifford is joining us on the show. He'll be talking to us about his insightful book. Tim began his career on the bustling floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in the 1980s, he doesn't look that old, starting as a runner and ending as a trader, gaining a solid foundation in financial markets. In the 1990s, he joined Charles Schwab and Company, working with financially successful clients and observing key distinctions between high earners who accumulated substantial wealth. This insight led him to focus on structured wealth building. By the 2000s, Tim advanced into leadership roles and became more committed to helping others build and maintain their value. In 2012, he earned a certified financial planner designation and founded Core Wealth Consultants, LLC in Central Florida. And the creation of PlanAssist marked his significant milestone. It aims to provide successful people with the best of both worlds, complete control while receiving guidance, while you can choose to follow or not. And PlanAssist offers formal input and assistance with financial decisions while keeping you in control. It embodies Tim's philosophy that financial success comes with consistent, disciplined decision-making over decades. And so I guess reckless decision-making doesn't work. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
There you go. So reckless financial planning doesn't work?
No, reckless doesn't work. Most people, though, on a serious note, though, most people make good financial decisions, interesting enough, for the most part. It's just, can you make better decisions? And that's really what I really try to help people with is a lot of people are pretty good at managing their own investments and managing their finances, but there's a lot of pieces that they could just do better, and that's really what I wrote the book about.
There you go. Except for my Uncle Bob. He lives down by the river. That's why his mother-in-law doesn't like him. See that where the joke lies? There it is.
There's exceptions, though.
Yeah, definitely for him, there's exceptions. He's the weird one at the Thanksgiving dinners. I don't have an Uncle Bob. Hey, Tim, give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
PlanAssist.com. And then on LinkedIn, it's Timothy Clifford, CFP, or Timothy Clifford. You can find me.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your book, PlanAssist, Make Better Financial Decisions?
Over the last 10 years, I've met with hundreds of clients, and one of the things that it's become obvious is people need a little bit of help to make better financial decisions. And like I commented on earlier, most people make good financial decisions, but can we make better financial decisions? And one of the things I kind of had an aha moment or a ha-ha decade at Schwab is I noticed that people that made a lot of money made different financial decisions than people who had a lot of money. And so over the last 10 years, that's really been my main kind of focus is how do I help people make decisions that someone with a lot of money would typically make. And sometimes it's minor differences, but those minor differences make a huge difference over a decade or two.
Yeah. So my dad when I was growing up, my dad used to love this question. He would say, it was something about how, would you like $1 million now or a penny a day with compound interest at whatever percent for 10 years, I think that was the example or something like that. And, you'd always be like, yeah, I'll take the $1 million. And whatever the other example was of the penny a day, the exponentiating factor of compounding was like, a whole lot more money, whatever it was.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact analogy.
But it's it's 10, it can be, I think it's 10 plus fold difference over time.
Yeah. And, then he'd laugh at you and be like, you're stupid. And we're like, Dad. Appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about your, we heard a little bit of your bio, but we'd like to hear it from your words. What, how did you grow up? What were some of your influences, and what made you get into the stock marketing business?
So I grew up in central Indiana in a really small town, about an hour and a half north of Indianapolis, and really grew up with no money. So I grew up in the class of, there were periods in time where my dad didn't make any money, periods where he made a lot of money, but we never had money. And so after college, I went to Chicago, got into the commodity business, spent a decade in the commodity business, which was an absolute blast, probably the funnest 10 years of my professional life. But at the end of it, I really still had no money. So I made a lot of money and lost a lot.
Is that cocaine and hookers, or is it just you were spending on?
It was mostly just losing it in the market. Fortunately. So
you should have put it on cocaine and hookers, because still had no money.
But I did have, that's a fair point, because I did have lots of friends that lost money that way too. But mine was mostly trading. And so I kind of came to my senses of, this isn't going to work long term. No matter how much I make, I just wasn't holding on to it. So I went to work at Schwab. And as over that 10 years in Indianapolis, I started to work with a lot of people who not only made a lot of money, but they had a lot of money. And it just became obvious these people made different decisions than those who made a lot of money. And so really I kind of just built PlanAssist out of that philosophy and that kind of aha. And it's, it's been decades, so it's not something I just kind of woke up and did. It's something that I kind of put together over the course of 15, 20 years.
There you go. So now you're sharing that knowledge in your new book and the stuff you do. Tell us about your, with the new book, you talk about several principles. So have a plan, be diversified, and seek counsel. It seems like those are the three core structures. Is that about right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
So I have to have a plan? Oh my God. This is work.
Now, and don't think of a plan as something that is work. With all honesty, a plan is, you don't do anything. You don't even go on a trip to the grocery store without a plan. I'm going down this road. I'm going down that road. So a plan does not have to be some 35 or 40 page PDF with a bunch of details in it. It's nothing more than a kind of a here-there strategy of, I'm here and I want to be there, and then make sure your significant other is on the same page. And that's the beginning of a plan. But with that said, I'm in the process of building a extension on our house. And so think of the original start of that plan as super fun, and it shouldn't be work. It should be enjoyable. And what I mean by that is kind of what colors and what's it going to look like and what's the size of the walls and all that kind of stuff. But at some point you want to connect a engineer to a construction plan. So you need to have a CAD drawing, put all that information in, and some of the fun gets taken out of this extension when they start saying this extent, you need to put a pole here because this is too long without a support structure. And you're like, can we do steel, or the architect or the engineer will come up with that. So my point is a plan does not have to be complicated and should not be early on, but at some point you do want to connect the dots in the sense that you have some financial plan that does connect the dots like a CAD drawing would with a extension on your house. But it still doesn't have to be, again, super complicated or really painful. It just needs to be clear. Here's what I'm doing, here's how I am, and connecting your financial decisions.
And I imagine you give some examples of that type of blueprint.
Lots of them.
There you go.
Yeah.
So people can figure it out for themselves and plan it out. But, it's true. People, especially people that are successful or rich, and I resent all of them. No, I'm just kidding. The people are like that. They just have figured out little strategies. They have strategies of how things work, and they figured out angles, and usually they paid high-powered attorneys to do that for them, or high-powered CPAs or whatever. And, those are the blueprints that you want to take and copy because, doing the same thing over and over again, getting bad results and expecting different results is, not a way to really work things out when it comes down to it. Yeah. So the next step in your process is be diversified. What sort of diversification do you recommend? Should I put half my money on hookers and blow and then another half on Bitcoin?
No, that's probably not diversification. I'm going to go with that speculation.
Damn it. I'm going to have to call my accountant.
So diversification, first, if you talk to any financial advisor, there's a couple things that's important to understand about diversification. But the first one is concentration creates wealth, okay? And diversification preserves wealth. So concentration, you put all your money in one place, watch it closely. That's how people get rich. Once you get rich, diversification will preserve that wealth. Now, with that said, you have to come up with some kind of balance, and it's more art than science. So if you're in your 40s, you can't just put all your money in, unless you're making a ton of money. But if you're not making a ton of money, you can't just put all your money in a diversified portfolio and think that's going to necessarily make you wealthy. You probably need to put some money in some concentrated positions, the company you work for, etc. The best story I can tell on that is I had a really good friend. He was 25 years older than me, but he was a super good friend, and he had made a lot of money, had a lot of money, and he'd say, Tim, just take all your money and put it in S&P 500. And I said, yeah, but Joe, that's not what you did. You put all your money in, and back then he had Napa Auto Parts stores, and he put all of his money in there. And then once he got rich, he went and diversified. I said, it's more a kind of when do you do it? So diversification is diversify across assets with some concentration, which I talk about in the book using the core explore strategy. And we don't have time to get into it here, but it is kind of a combination. And then lastly, you want to be diversified across kind of three things. So you want your assets diversified. Everyone knows that. Okay. So have, large cap, small cap, international, et cetera. But you also want to be diversified across tax liability. So you want to have money in a tax-free, a taxable, and a tax-deferred account. So when you get into retirement, you have some control over your tax bill. And then the last thing you want to be diversified across is income streams. So you want to have multiple income streams so you're not kind of dependent on one thing from that perspective. So I touch on those kind of three concepts.
There you go. And then the final one, seek counsel. Tell us about that.
It's the hardest one.
The hardest one, really? Wow.
Yeah, and it's the hardest one by a long shot, okay? Because when to have a plan and be diversified, that's kind of pretty objective. And if you sat down with 10 financial advisors or 100 financial advisors, it's likely that they're going to come up with a very similar strategy or plan. The only thing that would change from advisor to advisor more than likely would be kind of prioritization and order that you're going to do stuff in, which can make a huge difference. So hiring a financial advisor is a big deal, but it's still going to be somewhat subjective or objective, okay? When you get to seeking counsel, that becomes really subjective. And where I find the biggest challenge there is people who are really successful, they're smart. I mean, they've acquired a decent amount of money in their 401ks, they're making good money, they're excelling in their careers. So seeking counsel is not something they do naturally, and it's not something they do happily, to be honest with you. And then kind of on top of that, it becomes even more challenging in the sense as there's two kinds of counsel that becomes blurred, and people don't kind of realize it, and I do touch on this in the book, is there's formal counsel and informal counsel. And what I mean by that is formal counsel would be a counsel you pay for. This is what rich people are constantly doing. Okay, they have lots and lots of formal counsel. To your point about, the joke about hiring a lawyer, they literally have lawyers, so they don't sign leases, they don't do anything without getting formal counsel. What a lot of people do is they get informal counsel, i.e. their friends, their parents, their neighbors, and that counsel can be really valuable and also pretty colorful, so it can be fun, but you have to get the balance. I'm not saying informal is bad or formal counsel is good, comparing them. I'm just saying those are two different types of counsel that people really need to consciously think through, and you really need to get both, and they're very different counsel. So think of formal counsel as counsel you pay for, so that'll have a tendency to have a little boring, focus. I tell some of my clients, they're like, "This is really boring. Do we do something different?" And I say, "No, that's my job. Keep it boring."
This is really boring. I mean, it's some of these things. I mean, what do you want? The Kardashians to come out and give you financial advice? I mean,
correct.
Come on, people.
People do.
You want P.T. Barnum to show up with a bag of clowns and be like, dun 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 dun. Yeah, I mean, math and financials are boring, but they're really necessary if you want to retire wealthy and do all that stuff. It's kind of a deal. Evidently, I hear. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I'm trying to avoid retirement as best as I can, so I'm putting that off until I die or something. What's the line I use? Warren Buffett says it. I'll retire 7 years after I die.
That's great.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
So we've encompassed the three main pillars of your book, PlanAssist, and then you call it PlanAssist, and I believe you've got a registered trademark on it. Is this something that you teach or do something in your website that is part of your counseling or coaching that you do?
I do. And I've gone through over the years, I've kind of put seminars together and presentations together and done some stuff, different organizations. So I have a whole process that I take them through, but the book is only 50 pages. I mean, so this is not some long detailed book. It keeps you at 30,000 foot, but it really does touch on all the principles that I have implemented personally and seen people with wealth implement over the last 25 years of my career. And I don't go into like minutia detail on any of them, but I get you enough to where you kind of I get that, or you can go do your own research on it. But all of it's pretty normal in the financial services. You should, if you go sit down with if you read PlanAssist and go sit down with a financial advisor, it's very likely that you'll hear a lot of the same concepts from that financial advisor that I introduce in the book. So nothing in the book that I introduce is something that's, kind of out there, not mainstream financial planning, basically. There
you go. And so what sort of services do you offer at your website when people go to it?
The most unique thing that I offer is there's some percent of the population that doesn't know anything. So both husband and wife, and they have financial advisors to do, and I have that service. So I do it, and I charge a percentage, and clients come in and say, "What should I do?" And I'll help them through it. I'll explain and educate them, but for the most part, they don't have a lot of knowledge about it. Mm-hmm. The second service I offer is somewhat unique because there's a lot of people out there who manage their own investments and do a good job with it. Now, they might be missing they might have some holes in their plan, et cetera. But for the most part, I see lots of people doing their investments themselves. The challenge they have is if something happens to them, their significant other knows nothing. And so then where do they go? And so like I have quite a few clients that use PlanAssist subscription service for just that point where, okay, I'm going to interview you. We're going to have an annual meeting. I'm going to send you some reports, but I don't really he or she doesn't need my advice. They already know what they're doing. But if something happens to them, their significant other at least has some place to start. They may not hire me as their financial advisor, but at least it's all one place and kind of here's what you got and here's how things go. And then the third is just for people who kind of both people know what they're doing, and then it helps them organize their investments. So that's kind of my kind of main service.
There you go. Is there a minimum net worth you need to have or anything like that?
For managing someone's investments where I do it themselves, or I actually do it, it's $100,000, which makes sense because of kind of fees and those types of things. But for PlanAssist, there isn't, because that's a subscription-based model where they just pay $100 a month, and I'll give them my advice, I'll give them the technology, I'll show them, I'll build the plan for them, I'll give them some diversification strategies, I'll help them with seeking counsel, whether it's like I have my own kind of circle of advisors or use their circle of advisors to help them make financial decisions. That one is kind of, they do it though, we kind of help them do it, is maybe the best way to describe it. That's what you kind of clicked on when you started the show, was best of both.
There you go. Now, I'm looking at the website. Now, that explains the flat fee, one simple flat fee service to the PlanAssist.
Exactly.
And they can schedule a call by hitting the button on the website and talking to you guys.
Exactly. And that's probably the most unique part of my offering. Other advisors will have a fee, but they don't usually lead with it. I kind of think that's really unique in leading with it. So it's not a unique offering. It's just unique in the sense that I lead with it.
There you go. And then you have PlanAssist Plus. Do you want to tease a little bit about that now?
And the PlanAssist Plus is basically just the extension of, I'm going to manage the assets and diversify the assets themselves for them, manage it for a flat fee. That's the $100,000. So you get everything the PlanAssist has, i.e. a plan, a diversified strategy, help them with seeking counsel. And again, people misconstrue this seeking counsel. I want to just touch on this before we kind of go, is don't think of seeking counsel as someone selling you something or someone telling you what to do. It's literally just here's my situation, give me some feedback, and then you choose whether to follow it or not. And I can tell you, of all the things that people with lots of money teach their children, that is it. Those people really know how to.
Every day of my life. Starting at
there
age
you go.
6, now 64.
I'm sorry.
I remember the day of the week.
It's reading actually one of your pages. My Speechify is going off. So some of this stuff that you've covered here is great. What do you find most people are struggling with their finances? What's the number one thing that they screw up the most, or they need to work on the most?
This sounds ridiculously simple, but it is living outside their means. I mean, most of them don't have a plan, and they just spend more than they make. I mean, that's relatively obvious. And then the second is they'll save a lot of money in their retirement accounts and then spend all the rest of their money, so they don't end up with, like a now bucket, a soon bucket, a later bucket. And then probably the third is they think their house is their investments. We don't even count your house in a financial plan or in net worth, because you got to move somewhere else. And too many people in America think their house is an investment, and it's just not. It's
really?
Where you live. No,
even now with the housing prices soaring, stupid crazy.
It's not.
Wow.
I don't. If you have $1 million house and you sell it, where are you going to go? You're going to go to another $1 million house.
I see how that works. Yeah, that's true. Most people do that, and they upgrade and stuff. And
that's exactly what happens. So a few people will downgrade, but even downgrade. So I'm in Central Florida, and even downgrading is difficult because you sell your house for $800,000, and let's just say you don't know anything on your house. You're not going to buy something relatively nice for less than say $500,000 if you're used to living in an $800,000 house and neighborhood. Then you're going to pay taxes. You're going to pay to move. So it's going to cost you $100,000. So you might bank $200,000. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not a retirement plan.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the problems if you've been in a house for a long time, especially with what's going on with inflation, you may own a house that's worth $1 million, but you paid $500,000 for it. And if you sell it, all the new houses are $1 million. So you're kind of fucked.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Yeah, my mom's been in the same house for like 30 years, and I'm like, Mom, you should move. And she's like, I can't buy a new house for...
Correct.
doesn't trade across. And I'm like, yeah, I get it.
And think about it, and then people will see their house and say, I have $1 million so I can afford a Lexus, when really they should be buying a Toyota. And again, I'm not pro Lexus or Toyota. I have no problem with people having Lexuses, but or anything. It's just, it needs to be, again, fit within the plan. And that's the one thing the plan does for people is, even if it's a simple here there plan, I'm here and I want to go there, is it doesn't help. It helps with the no. It helps with that no, we're not doing that, because that does blow our plan up.
Wow. There you go. I was reading something the other day. I think maybe it was a TikTok video, but it basically said, a lot of people like to, they have money. They drive like bum cars that are like older and ratty and they're not ratty maybe, but they're older cars. I think even Warren Buffett drives like an older Cadillac or something like that. It's kind of funny. And yet I see these people, they buy these cars and the payments on them nowadays are like stupid. Crazy. One of my things is what I actually do is I keep a beater car, because I don't have a wife and kids. I don't have places to go with it. And I work from home, so I don't have any place to go. So if I have a date night, or if I want to go someplace where I'm worried about the car breaking down or something, I just rent a car for the weekend.
That's smart.
That's it. And it's cheaper to do. I don't have to maintain it. You throw the insurance on there. You got a nice car for the weekend. You can go on dates. You can go to Vegas, and I can do whatever I want. And it's cheaper than what people. There's people paying $2,000 a month for a freaking car payment now. It's like dumb.
That's a house payment. Think about that.
Yeah. I mean, I know people that they're paying, what is it, $150 for some of these trucks, $150,000 for these trucks. Yeah. And man, if they don't have good credit, they're really up. I think those are good credit rates. I mean, I guess $1,500 is like not unheard of for an average car payment now. And I'm just like, I'll just drive a ratty old car and then I see them in the shop all the time on TikToks. And so I'm like, I think I like the old cars. They don't break down as much. They're not as complex. And like right now, the insurance is going through the roof on cars because they're so complex. And I guess a lot of these cars have gotten so expensive that when they total them, it costs the insurance company a fortune. Because if you have a $15,000 pickup truck versus a $150,000 pickup truck and you total it, you're kind of screwed. And even there's certain ones of these electric cars, I think it's Rialto or something, or I forget, it starts with an R, but they built the panels of the truck so they're one piece. They probably did it for production method. But the problem is, if you wreck them, you have to replace the whole one piece, which is like half the cab and bed of the truck.
So it totals the truck.
Yeah, so it totals the truck, or you got to find something. Like even like if you dent like a panel, that whole piece has got to be replaced. And so the insurance companies, the insurance is going through the roof, the housing insurance is going through the roof. I'm just going to live in a van down by the river at this pace because, fuck it. I make a lot of money, and I love having cash laying around and paying off credit cards every month. I like that.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, it really is. I like to tease my credit cards. I run one up for a month, and I'm like, I just fooled you. Pay that off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the way to go. What other advice as we go out, maybe we haven't touched on about the book, or things that you want to share with the audience?
I think the other kind of embedded philosophy is maybe a better way to word it than the three principles: have a plan, be diversified, seek counsel. Is the first philosophy is financial success is not an event. It's the combination of all the decisions someone's made over decades, and that's why having a plan, that's why really thinking through your financial decisions matter, because you think one little decision doesn't matter, but maybe it doesn't individually, but the accumulation of those decisions do matter over a long period of time. And then the second philosophy is you have to spend enough time to understand what you're being told to do or what you're being suggested or what the advice is or the counsel is, because if you don't understand it, you're not going to do it. And so the best way to kind of think of that is, and this comes from Charlie Munger, is people will only do what they almost know. So if someone tells you to go do something, if you don't kind of already know it or think about it, you're probably not going to do it. And, you kind of got to almost know. And I think that's something that this book will help with is if you understand kind of those basic principles and philosophies that I kind of touch on in the book, when you sit down with your financial advisor, I think you'll find it a much more productive and enjoyable experience, to be honest with you. It won't feel like it's being, you're not going to the dentist, you're going to kind of enjoy to basically make better financial decisions over a long time to become financially independent. So.
There you go. And your teeth won't hurt after.
Exactly. That's right. I'll tell you though, that I have clients that they think of going to an advisor is like literally the dentist. It's really rough.
I'd rather go to a financial advisor than a dentist any day of the week. That's just how I roll. Sorry.
I'll bet it's 50-50 though. If you poll the audience, it's probably 50-50. Yeah.
There you go. I probably lost the 5 dentists who listen to the show with that comment. So sorry, guys. Fun is fun. Final thoughts as we go out and pitch people on where they can reach out to you, find out more about you, your .com, et cetera, et cetera.
Again, PlanAssist.com. I can only help people. I'm a state right licensed financial advisor in Florida, so I can really only help people that are in Florida, Indiana, and Michigan. So I'm licensed in those 3 states. Everywhere else, I'm not actually licensed. But the concept of PlanAssist and kind of have a plan to be diversified and seek counsel applies to everyone. So whether you're already really wealthy and you're probably already doing some of it, but can you do better? Or if you're just making a good living and not saving the amount of money, it gives you some kind of key pieces to think about and manage.
There you go. And give us the .com one more time as we go out.
It's PlanAssist, PLAN, and then assist, ASSIST.com. So PlanAssist.com.
There you go. Thanks, Tim, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. I enjoyed meeting you, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. We've learned a lot today. Order the book, folks. Wherever fine books are sold, it's called PlanAssist with one word. That's PlanAssist. Make Better Financial Decisions by Timothy Clifford. Thanks, Ronitz, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.